All right, this is a decorator. No, seriously though. Decorators are an upcoming feature in a new version of JavaScript. Decorators are a new feature to JavaScript, but they're not new to programming. If you've worked with languages like Ruby or Python or even Java, you've probably encountered some form of decorators in one way or another. If you don't know those languages, don't worry at all, because all you really need to know is a little bit of JavaScript, and you're good to go. Because decorators are really just a way of using existing JavaScript features. Decorators let you take a regular old function and then declaratively apply a code symbol to it. So wait a minute, what do I exactly mean by that? That's a bit of a mouthful. So let's take a look at some decorators in their natural habitat. So here's 3 different decorators. We've got a class decorator, a property decorator, and a parameter decorator. Now, these are just 3 different types of decorators. There's a whole bunch of different types, but these are just 3, and we can already see some commonalities in them. You can see they all have an @ symbol that they start with. There's an identifier, which is just a function somewhere else in your code or in some library code that you've imported. And then they take that class symbol as an argument. So that's all great, but like, what exactly do they do? Oop. So one way you could think about it is they could do something like this. If we had an ES6 function, or an ES6 class, I should say, like class foo, and then later we have a function, we could pass foo to the function, maybe some metadata. Well, the decorator lets us do things in a more declarative way. So we could say add metadata, put the metadata in, and then declare our class. So you'll notice I've said declare a couple times. Well, it's important to note that decorators run when code is declared. Okay, so they run, but what exactly do they run? Well, I said it a minute ago, but they run functions declared elsewhere in your code or in some library code you've imported. That's not really enough though, so let's take a look at a Quasireal example. Now, I say Quasireal because this example is going to work, it'll run, I have a use case for it, but the only problem is just trying to fit this into slides in 5 minutes is pretty challenging. They get a little bit verbose. So let's dive in and take a look. This is a simple decorator factory function. Yeah, it's simple. It's about as simple as I could make it. We'll walk through it. It's really not that bad. On the outside, we have a describe function. It's taking a descriptor. I mean, we define that, so we could do anything we sort of want with it. And then it returns a function. That's it. It's a factory for creating decorator functions. There's not a whole lot to it. Then the actual function we're returning, it's going to get populated by the decorator mechanics internally for us. And then I'm just going to add some annotations to it. So my use case for this particular example is that I have like a command line program, and I'd like to actually print out a nice little help menu, but I want to keep the descriptions really close to the code, so it's easy to maintain. So I can actually use this just like this. I've got my class, I can run through, I can decorate my methods, and then later I can programmatically pull out my descriptions and present them to the user in a help menu. So it's just a new way of using existing JavaScript features. Now, that being said, there are, of course, a whole bunch of gotchas. I mean, decorators can get you into a lot of trouble. So you do have to be very careful with them. One thing you can do to really try and stay safe with decorators is to avoid mutation. If you avoid mutation, you'll rule out whole classes of problems, and you'll save yourself a lot of heartache. Another thing you're going to have to keep in mind with decorators is that standardization is still in progress. I mean, Babel was doing things one way for a little while, and TypeScript's a little bit different, and the spec is slightly different from both of those. So your best bet is really going to be to keep it simple. If you keep it simple, and you stick to annotating things, and you avoid mutations, you can have a lot of fun. And that's really the important part. I mean, you want to have fun. They're a new way of using existing language features. They're a brand new way of having fun with the language you already know and love. So that's it. Thanks very much. Enjoy your decorators.